Motion's been made by Commissioner May, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning we have vouchers that total $1,283,321.31. The highlights out of the voucher report, the largest item is our pooled cash, mostly payroll, $576,546.18, followed by our health insurance premium of $266,832.49, followed by holding accounts with the state of Kansas, $114,199.48. IT, we have a couple of purchases that total up to $73,261.82. Out of those are the Eagle Technology, which is the annual tape backup platform maintenance, and also then the Optiv Security, which is our annual firewall maintenance. And then finally, under equipment, we have a total of $12,984.40, which is primarily the Bleachers International, which is the 5th payment for the grandstand and press box at the Lake Shawnee Girls Complex. Having reviewed the vouchers, I don't have any questions. Would move for their approval.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item B, emergency management number 1, consider approval of request to purchase a Canon wide format color printer plotter from Salina Blue at a cost of $4,015 with funding from the Capital Outlay Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is that purchase, as Cindy just said, that was approved back in December for the capital improvement funds. Is concerning our plotter, large printer that we use for maps and other items like that. We've been relying on other departments to help us out there, and we have the need for it. So,
Any questions?
Move for approval.
second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Jesse. Next item.
Item B2, consider authorization and execution of contract C55-2020 with Medevac Mid-America, Inc., DBA as AMR, Second Amendment to Contract C207-2016, Section 2.2, extending the time frame from February 29, 2020 through May 31, 2020 for the B&A 2019 trial program.
Morning, Commissioners. Nelson Castile, Ambulance Compliance Officer. In September, we were authorized to start the basic life support program with the AMR ambulances. That was a part of the Contract Amendment 315-2019. The program did not start off until October 6th, and there's some very good reasons for that, and I agree with all of them. AMR took some time in the interim period there to train the right people to get them in there. They looked at the dispatch and the CAD system complications. They also took the time to make sure that the right emergency medical dispatch codes, the EMD codes that we wanted in the program were in the program, and that those were going to be effective and going to be enough to test the program. The first 3 weeks, which I call the developmental period, there was some growing pains and there was some lessons learned in there. And so basically we started looking more after that time for the first 5 weeks, the second 5 weeks, and then the third 5 weeks, which ended on February 8th, which allowed us time to get this studied and put on the commission agenda. For the entire program so far, the basic life support units out there have worked the day shift. There's been a couple on the night shift. When they have worked the night shift, we have seen some definite success and some definite benefits. And I'll let John Antrim, who's the regional director, address the staffing and where that is right now. The thing that is significant for me is that out of the 525 calls that have been run, one of the biggest downfalls, or one of the biggest fears of this, was that the basic life support units would end up on an advanced life support call and then have to call an additional unit in there to not only stop the clock, but also to treat the patient. And I've been looking at all of these. Out of the 525, there were only 5 of those instances, which is just right near 1% or less than 1%. 2 of them occurred in the developmental period, and that was more of a CAD computer issue. One of them occurred in the first 5 weeks, and one of them occurred in the second 5 weeks. In the third 5 weeks, we also had one. When we looked at these, we had our joint medical director that's a part of the county contract, Dr. Keenan Thompson, look at it, and out of those 5, there were no negative impacts to patient care. Which brings us to today. Because we lost approximately 37 or 38 days at the beginning of the program, September, October are typically some of the bigger months that we see a lot of folks. It's still nice out. People are still out there doing all that exercise and fun stuff. And that kind of gave us that would have given us more of a feel on the total impact on this. With that in mind, we would like to continue this. It is up this Saturday, which is one of the very few February 29th I've seen, and extend that out to the last day in May. That will give us a time, and in March and April, where we, even in the slow years, we have seen where the calls increase and where they're going to be most needed. The other part of this program will also allow us, when we went into this, and Director Antrim can expound on this if he'd like, we only picked certain types of calls, not all of the BLS calls out there, not all of the 84% that we see on a yearly basis were permitted to be given to the BLS units. We only gave them the ones that we knew that we wanted to try out first, kind of a trying out period or a trial period. It's worked so far. We're going to work with the protocol working group and the medical director to expand that if you allow for this extension. The zones here, I just wanted to break down here. Most of the calls occurred in Zone 1, and I'm going to show you why that is. I hope. Here we are. Not that one, it's this one right there. There we go. Most of Zone 1, with the exception of the areas south of 45th Street in the city, all of the city of Topeka is in Zone 1 for the most part, and that's where we do see the greatest concentration of the calls. The map information and the table and statistics I put up are also available on the Shawnee County website. And before I ask Mr. Antrim up, do you have any questions for me? Okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Antrim, Regional Director for GMR. When we started this program, we first came and talked to you. The idea of this program is getting the right resource to the right patient. We do have a lot of low acuity, what we consider non-emergency calls. These calls are processed through the EMD process. When you call 911, it's not, I need an ambulance, they're going to send them and they're going to come. They literally interrogate the caller with a series of questions through a developed program, and it's able to prioritize those calls. We knew going into this, looking back at prior data, that there was a little bit less than 1% chance, or up to 1% chance that some of those calls could be missed. And those are the calls that Nelson talked about. 2 of them in the very beginning were just dispatch protocol issues that we had to work out as we were developing this program, so kind of some growing pains. But the big thing that I want to make sure that you guys understand and reiterate what Nelson talked about, there was no harm done to any of the patients. The other thing with the BLS trucks, I know there was some negative spin when we first talked about this. These people are 100% capable of taking care of people. You know, they have the ability to stop hemorrhages, they have the ability to apply oxygen, airway adjuncts. They're able to treat patients. So even in the event that an ALS truck is summoned, they're still able to provide care until those units can get there. I believe it's been a great success. We've seen improvements in our compliance. As far as staffing, we are fully staffed paramedics, so all of our ALS units are fully staffed. We're still hiring a couple of EMTs. I believe after this next hiring process, we'll be two EMTs down. But overall, I think the program's been a great success, and do you guys have any questions?
John, how does this interact with the City of Topeka's fire department move to go towards a more advanced life support when you're looking at how you're retooling your response times?
So this is a learning process we're going through now. We've had a couple occasions where they've arrived on scene, they've started ALS, therefore we've had to reroute an ALS unit to the scene, because once they've initiated advanced life support, they can't turn that patient over to a lower level of care. If they have not initiated a life support intervention, even though they're an ALS unit, they can still turn that over to our BLS truck. So right now we're having some learning that we're doing together to see how this is going to integrate with each other. But right now, no major hiccups.
Are you also working with the volunteer fire departments and out in the county?
Yes. You know, we send out feedback questionnaires. Nelson, that's one thing Nelson's done a great job keeping track of this program. He routinely requests reports from us as well as the fire agency, looks at them, compares them, makes sure that there's no inconsistencies, and make sure that we're providing the best patient care possible for the citizens.
Questions?
No, and this just might be for Nelson. I note from the memorandum that this is going to be reviewed at the April 22nd Ambulance Advisory Board meeting to see how it's going and how it's working.
Yes, Commissioner, that will give me some time to actually dive down into the data and get you some hard facts about how many calls did this prevent from being late, what were the outcomes, and related to fines, which AMR would most certainly like to see go down, also to look at and see, did this save them being fined, or how did this have an impact on the system as a whole? A very good example is the airplanes that come in for medical needs. The basic life support trucks have allowed the system not to be crowded when we need to send folks to an airport to run crews in and out, or the donation teams, or going out of town on some of these transfers that BLS can take, where they might have been last minute because they need to go, but they don't want to hurt the system, so they're able to send them. And so I'll be looking at those and seeing just where were they a positive factor, but also where were they a negative factor. And so far I'm still looking through that data. There's probably close to 7,000 different runs to look at as a whole between the first 5-week period and when we'll get to April, sir.
Would you anticipate then maybe around May the 4th having a report back to the commission as to how this is going?
I can do that, sir. Yes, sir.
I think that would be helpful.
This contract's just through May 31st, is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's through May 31st, and we picked that date because it gives us it will give us close to between 36 and 38 weeks of data to look at. By April, we should know if there's any issues or anything that we need to address, and then by May 4th, we should know for sure just how successful or anything about the program itself, and that will give us some options moving forward.
I would move for approval of the contract.
I will second that. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Ripley. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. John Nelson, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next item.
Item C, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C63-2020 with Enterprise Fleet Management for the lease of 2 2020 Hyundai Ioniqs. Okay, I'll get that yet. Hybrids, increasing the annual agreement by no more than $669.94, and with equity from the 2 vehicles being used to offset leasing costs.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brent Hulseth, Shawnee County Parks and Rec Fleet Services. This is just continuing to use the enterprise early order strategy to turn in vehicles and hopefully be able to actually lower the payment after we get a new vehicle. So 2 more to put on the list, I guess.
what kind of vehicles are these Ionics? What, are they just a four-door car? Or is that what
It's
they-
a,
I'm not
yeah,
familiar
it's
with
not a, it's a compact hybrid, very similar to a Prius.
it. Okay.
In fact, if you parked them next to each other, you'd probably have to look pretty close to see which was which.
Any other questions?
No.
I'll move for approval.
Second?
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item D, Public Works, number 1, consider approval of request to reject bids received for the purchase of capital equipment items and to resolicit bids.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. Yes, back on January 9th, the Commission gave Public Works approval to solicit bids on our 2020 heavy equipment purchases. As you already know, the 2 dump trucks and the hook lift and load hot box came back, and we were satisfied with the bids, and you approved that the preferred bid on February 13th. But unfortunately, the bids for the message board, the signing truck, and the supervisor's truck came back less than satisfactory. Mainly because, in my opinion, we just didn't have enough bidders. If you look on the table that I provided in the memo, for 2 items, we only had 1 bid. So, what we'd like to do, what I'm requesting is that we refuse all these bids, reject them, and try again with your approval. Any questions?
I'll move for approval.
Second?
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item D2, consider approval of request to acquire a smartphone and wireless data plan for the Weed Director at a monthly cost of $36.04 with funding from the Weed Department's budget.
Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. You know, the weed director's out on the road quite a bit, not only looking for noxious weeds, but also checking on staff to make sure that the spraying is going as needed. So I think it's important that the weed director have a smartphone where he can receive text messages and phone calls. So with your questions, any?
I'll move for approval.
Second?
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item D3, consider authorization and execution of contract C64-2020 with Cook, Flatt, and Strobel Engineers, PA, for the replacement of the Northwest Wilson Road Bridge over a tributary to Half Creek to include design services and a geotechnical report at a cost of $35,000 and construction engineering services at a cost of $39,000 with funding from the countywide half-cent sales tax funds.
Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. Just to kind of refresh ourselves on what project we're talking about, this Wilson Road project is located 350 feet south of the Jackson-Shawnee County line on Wilson Road. Wilson Road is 2 miles west of Topeka Boulevard. This is one of the bridges that had the encased I-beams that I presented pictures on here a month or so ago. In order to start the process of developing plans, we need to have a designer on board, so this contract provides design services. And then once the plans are created and we have a project budget and we have a successful letting, we need construction engineering services. The Professional Services Committee met on February 10th and decided that Cook, Flatt, Strobel provided the best submittal and chose that firm. And so I'm here before you asking you to approve the 2 contracts, one again for design services and one for construction engineering services. Questions?
Move to approve. Second?
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item E, County Councilor, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C65-2020, change order number 4 to contract C150-2019 with McCowan Gordon Construction LLC to provide an underfloor drain piping system and widen overhead coiling door to 20 feet at Expo Hall at a cost of $38,130, with funding from the contingency fund set aside for this project.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Crowell, Shawnee County Councilor. This change order number 4 does relate to our renovations at Stormontville Event Center. There are 2 items. Both of them are related to the renovations of Exhibition Hall. Our geological consultant, Terracon, recommends that we put in an under-drainage system on the extension of Exhibition Hall to the north. We've encountered a lot of moisture in that area. We're not sure if that's just seasonal and due to the amount of moisture that we've had over the last year, but in order to be safe and to protect the foundation in that area, we're going to have an underdrain system collect water and then divert it away from the foundation. So that's $23,542. The second change order is for $14,578. That's to enlarge one of the doors that is used by our staff at Exhibition Hall. It will allow larger equipment to be able to enter and exit and allow them to be more efficient as they're operating the facility to get more in and out more quickly. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
So this change order for the door, that's a change in the original design that we had?
Exactly. When we did the original design, it was to put back the door at the same size. When we got into it, one of the things we're looking for as we're going through the renovations, trying to find areas that will make us more efficient in how we operate the facility. And this is one that they identified, hey, if we had a little larger door, we could get bigger equipment in and out of there and load and unload more quickly.
Any other questions?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item E2, consider authorization and execution of contract C66-2020 settlement and mutual release agreement with Mohan Construction, Inc. regarding the northwest parking lot at the courthouse.
Good morning, Commissioners. Again, this item is a settlement agreement with Mohan Construction. Mohan Construction was the general contractor on our northwest parking lot project. When that project went in place, we noticed within 6 months that the top layer of the concrete started to fail. And you can walk right out there and see in the gutter on the south side and predominantly in the parking lot on the southeast side, sidewalks and ramps on that south side, that the top layer of finish failed. We've been going back and forth with the contractor. We've been through mediation. We've arrived at this settlement agreement. The settlement agreement will require that the entire parking lot be removed and replaced, and that areas of the guttering on the south side and the south side sidewalk and ramp will also be replaced. That work would commence no earlier than April 1st of this year. Once it commences, it's required to be completed within 120 days. We've agreed not to park on it for 28 days once it's been poured to allow it adequate time to cure. We've also put in other provisions to try to prevent this from happening again, which is they are not to pour concrete when the temperature outside is in excess of 95 degrees. We will have a warranty on the parking lot once again, and we believe that this is a good, fair settlement to avoid litigation over the work that was done, and we're recommending adoption of the settlement agreement.
Questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Jim. Next item.
Item F, Sheriff's Office, number 1, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Hill regarding the purchase of a new software module and licenses through Tyler Technologies New World for soft code contract C67-2020, to be used for civil process document management at a cost of $131,946, with $130,000 funding from the 2020 CIP and $1,946 from the federal forfeiture funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Major Hubler with the Sheriff's Office. We've been talking about this for a little bit with the state switching to the Odyssey system away from full court. It just made sense that we go ahead and make this transition to soft code, which is a software program for civil process that we've been looking at for quite some time. But again, with the state switching to Odyssey, it's another Tyler product, the interface, and the ability to have all that information shared throughout all our other Tyler products was the right way to do it. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
When we look at the cost, you're looking at the 2020 CIP to pay for the majority of the expense, all but really less than $2,000 is coming from the CIP. When we're looking at the software, this is used for civil process. Has there been any thought or consideration to raising what is charged to the people that are using the civil process? I mean, currently I think your fee is $10, $15.
Correct.
And if you were to go hire a private process server, you might pay between $30 and $40 for a private process server who may be able to get to it faster. If you were to raise the cost of the fee or go through the steps to raise that fee, it would probably reduce the cost to the county. Is there any thought to that?
I can tell you that the fees that we have been collecting over the years that go back to the county and don't come to the sheriff's office budget directly, more than pay for this. But I do agree that that's something that the sheriff's office could look at. We'd obviously have to get with council and make sure that everything was statutorily correct. But I would be more than happy, and I'm sure the sheriff would as well, to look into the possibility of raising those process fees. I'm just not sure what's available to us to do.
I just know that it's been a number of years, probably more than 10 or 15 years since we've looked at raising the fees. 20 years ago it was $5, and I think now it's up to $15. And so, I mean, that's a really, might look at what our rates are and whether or not it's time for a rate increase,
I'll be more than happy to take that
which
back.
then could offset the cost of the software. So, but I'll move for approval as requested.
Second.
And I guess for technicality, acknowledging receipt.
That's right. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item F2, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Hill regarding the agreement, contract C68-2020 with Offender Watch for safe virtual neighborhood services at a cost of $500 with funding from the offender registration account.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Again, Major Hubler. This is a fairly low-cost issue for the Sheriff's Office, but the Sheriff thought this was a big enough thing that he wanted to, for lack of a better term, kind of do a soft open with it. This is the Sheriff's Office buying into the ability for the public to buy an app for their smartphone that allows them to see whether or not offenders are attempting to contact their children, and also see how close those offenders are to the location where their children are. There is going to be a media release forthcoming within the next few days that will tell a little bit more about this, but I think this is really good for the safety and security of all the citizens of Shawnee County. A little bit offset on that, there is a fee for the citizens to purchase that app, but when it comes to safety and security of your children, I think it's well worth it. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
I'll move to acknowledge receipt.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner May, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Next item.
Item G, solid waste. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C69-2020 with Van Naaman Construction, Inc. for construction of concrete pad with precast block bunker at the South Shawnee North Annex at a cost of $41,509.38, with funding from the 2020 solid waste operational budget, not taxpayer supported.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Shawnee County Solid Waste. On 19th of February, last week, Commission approved awarding the bid of the concrete pad to Vandeman Construction. This here is just seeking approval of the contract and to execute that contract. Total cost will be $41,509 with 38 cents. This will come out of the 2020 solid waste operational budget, which is 100% fee funded and not taxpayer supported. Subject to your questions, gentlemen.
And what was this pad for?
This will be for the glass recycling that we hope to be kicking off late spring up there at the North Annex. Removing glass from the single stream recycle or curbside program.
And where do you see this glass going then? What's the,
The end result, we have another RFP out for a vendor to process the glass. There are 2 suitable candidates here in Kansas, one located in Kansas City, one in central Kansas, Hutchinson. That bid has not closed yet, so we do not have a vendor in place yet, but there's 2 solid candidates.
any question? I will move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Next item.
Item 5, administrative communications.
Okay. This time we'll allow anybody to speak on any subject. Dusty, you're up.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dusty Nichols, Emergency Management. Just want to put out there as a reminder, put on your schedules, next Monday, we are doing the Severe Storm Spotters course at Bradbury Thompson Center over at Washburn University. That entire program, there's 2 of them, one at 3 o'clock and one at 7. They are 90-minute programs. It is presented by the National Weather Service in coordination with Washburn University, who gave us the space. So I want to thank both of them. And then on Tuesday, the 3rd, statewide tornado drill, which we will be activating our outdoor warning system. And we'll get calls anyway, but we will be activating the outdoor warning system, the tornado sirens, at 10 o'clock, along with that test. If they cancel it for some reason, obviously we won't be participating in that. And then next week, we're going to be coming to you with some information. It is Severe Weather Awareness Week, so Monday we'll be talking to you a little bit, and Thursday we'll have a small presentation. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oakes from the Health Department. I am here on behalf of, if I can get this to, there we go. I'm here on behalf of the Shawnee County Employee Wellness Committee to announce it is time to register for Walk Kansas. This is our statewide annual, let's get out and get a little more fit, eat more fruits and vegetables. It's a great way to kick off spring and summer. This year we're going to do something a little different. We're going to have a county-wide competition. So we'd like the county departments to form some teams, get out there and start walking. The date is March 15th to start. And then we will have trophies for the top team that walks the farthest and eats the most fruits and vegetables. We'll also have some prizes along the way. And also the Extension Office offers incentives along the way. They have a great newsletter. They're actually going to be using the Blue Zone material this year, so I'm really excited about this information they're going to be sending us. So I just encourage everyone to think about getting on a team. This is how you start an exercise program. It gets you into the habit, you have accountability to your team members, and you have some competition. So it's a really good way if you've been wanting to kickstart that exercise program and eating better. It's a great way to do it. So we've had 4 to 6 teams at the health department for the past 8 or 9 years. We have internal trophies. We have a lot of fun getting the competition, great walking together. So I just encourage all the departments to get some teams together. You can register on walkkansas.org. You can still register by paper too. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me or anyone, Amanda Monholland or Craig Barnes at the health department. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Kurt Niehaus, Public Works. Next Monday, work on Southeast 29th begins. The east leg from Wittenberg to Croco Road. Contractor's going to be working on the north side of the road. Traffic, 1 lane in each direction, will be on the south side. Since the contractor's working on the north side, Again, the intersections with Wittenberg Road will be closed, and the entrance to Aquarian Acres will be closed. We think we're hopeful by mid-July the switch can occur with traffic going to the north side and contractor working on the south side. And when that occurs, those two connections will open, but they will probably open to partial movements, not full movements. Today, message boards go up announcing the project start, again, March 2nd, a week from today, weather permitting, and message boards will be in place about the closures of Wittenberg Road connection and the closure of the Aquarian Acres connection. That's it.
Thank you, Kurt.
Mhm.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Seitz, Spectre Venue Management and the Stormont Vale Event Center. Over the last couple of weeks, we've finished up a few great events at the buildings. We had 2 weeks ago the Topeka Home Show. Just this weekend, had a great weekend with good weather for the Lawn and Garden Show. We're getting ready to move into one of our busier months for live ticketed event content in March. We start things off at the beginning of March with the Capital City Carnage Demolition Derby. And then move right into one of our largest events of the year, which is Kansas Kids Wrestling. That event did add a second girls division and added about another 350 wrestlers, so that's going to add about another almost 4,000 people estimated in attendance for that event over a 3-day period. So looking forward to that, and then we finish things off in the month with Paw Patrol. So come on out and see us and look at all the fun renovations that are taking place.
Anyone else? Commissioner Mays?
Nothing from me.
Nothing for you. Commissioner Cook?
This last Thursday, we did have a meeting at the Health Department with the accreditation team. It was a good interaction, and so we will be looking at a result in maybe about June or thereabouts as to how we did. And so I think it was very positive for the county.
Very good. Well, I attended the Flower Lawn and Garden Show. It's now called the Kansas Garden Show. And we had a lot of representatives from Shawnee County there. Of course, our Parks and Recreation Department was there. Extension Office was there, the Master Gardeners. Keep America Beautiful, which we help support, was present. Solid Waste was there, very good. And our Conservation District. So we had good representation. It was all these departments were handing out educational information, and it was a good outlet for that. So it was a good event. And renovations are coming along nice. If you haven't been to an event in Stormont Vale Event Center lately, you'll be surprised when you go in there with all the new seats and lighting, and the PA systems and things are so much better than they were before. So we're seeing some real improvements there. So, next item.
Item 6, executive session.
We do have a need for executive session. I want to make a motion to go into executive session for a period not to exceed 20 minutes to discuss one item, to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel, specifically restructuring of certain classified or unclassified positions. No actions expected at this time.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. We will have a department head meeting immediately following this executive sessions. All right. action was taken at this time, so our Board of Commissioner meeting is adjourned, and we're ready to start our department head meeting.